It's time for Healthy and Wealthy with Coach Lou. Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you want to regain the energy you once had? Reclaim that energy today. Are you tired of struggling to get by in life? Time to take control of your finances today. Let Coach simplify the mystical and help you make it a reality. Put away all distractions. Be ready to ask questions and play full out.
Yes.
With no further ado, here is Coach Lou in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So there's two ancient yet very recently recognized therapies that are on literally opposite ends of the spectrum, okay? The heat and cold spectrum. The question is, which is better for you? Is heat therapy, cold therapy better for you? And you may be going, this is the first time I'm exposed to this. I'm not 100% sure even what you're talking about here, Coach. Okay, what we're going to do is first discuss each, the pros, the cons, and then let you kind of see for yourself. These therapies that I'm talking about are the hot and cold therapies. So before I get into it, I do have to remind you, as always, that the following statements I'm going to make in teachings are not approved by the FDA, and you should always consult your healthcare practitioner prior to beginning any dietary, fitness, or self-help program. Makes sense. Everybody's different, right? We're all bio-individual. We've talked about that before, that what's good for one person may not be good for another. Like we talked about in dietary. You know, I use almond flour for things like our waffles and stuff like that because it's much better than the wheat flour is for the body. However, if somebody were happen to be allergic to almonds, that statement would be totally untrue. It could mean life, death for somebody, which in most cases means really reality is something healthier. But everybody's bio-individual, so check with your doctor before you try any cold or heat therapies and make sure that you have no contraindications with that. Okay, so let's talk about heat. Let's get hot in here. Okay, and when I'm talking about the heat, I'm generally talking about sauna. Hot water immersion is also kind of involved there. In other words, hot tubs. But the physical benefits is where we're going to start here. Okay, your physical benefits are going to be improved cardiovascular health. Okay, when you're in a hot sauna, your heart rate increases, similar to moderate to, medium duty cardio exercise. Okay, your heart rate goes up. It's actually exercising your heart. Along with that, I have a belief, and I don't have necessarily a lot of scientific studies to back that one up though, but your lipids, generally when you think about it, at colder temperatures, fats tend to be thicker, heavier. At hotter temperatures, they seem to flow better. So I would tend to believe that may also, in the next few years, they may come out with a lot more studies on how the heat treatment actually may affect your lipids as well. Hint, hint. Okay, so it also provides for advanced muscle recovery and reduced soreness. And what's funny is when we talk about the cold, we're going to talk about that same thing, and we go, well, why is that? And that all has to do with blood flow. When you get in the hot box, as I call it, in the sauna, your blood flow, your veins, your arteries open up, your blood flow, you get more flow to the skin, you get more flow to all parts of your body. The hot therapy can be really good for anybody who has suffering from anything that would be caused by low blood flow. What does low blood flow maybe have to deal with in everyday life? Your physical relations can be affected by blood flow. Your brain, your cognition is definitely affected by blood flow. If you have, if you're impeding your blood flow to your brain, you're going to know it. And any of your muscles, if they are held back from blood flow, tend to deteriorate. So I would be venturing to say that something that is good for the circulation and blood flow is probably good for you on the overall. Okay. The other thing is in joint mobility, flexibility. Okay. I have some issues going on with my hands. I've had some hand injuries over the years, and it's kind of biting me right now. So when I go in the sauna, that gets better. Everything's more pliable, movable. That's why they do, in some companies, like Clearlight, make a sauna that's called the yoga sauna. It's big enough to do yoga in. I think I wish I had bought that one. I've got the smaller version, which is more than sufficient. But I think I would love to do yoga inside the sauna. I've done hot yoga before, and it's amazing how much more flexible you are when your body is warm. Okay? The other thing it provides is detoxification through sweating, through getting your pores opened up. There was a time that people said that, sweat doesn't detoxify. Sweating doesn't clear your body. BS. Okay, BS. Okay, it takes everything. Now it can take some of the good stuff out too. So you want to replace the salt, the electrolytes, your potassium, your magnesium. If you're sweating a lot, you want to be cautious of that and make sure that you're properly hydrating. Although, as we've talked about before, and we'll talk about again and again and again, hydrating is not only just drinking water. Hydrating has a lot to do with those electrolytes in the water. Okay. So detoxification is another wonderful thing. Improves skin, health-wise, appearance-wise, aging-wise. And you might be like, now we're really, really upselling this heat stuff. You mean it's going to make my skin better? What are we going back to? Increased blood flow, detoxification. That's a win-win for the skin. When your blood flows down, have you ever seen somebody who's not well and has heart issues? They're gray. They don't look well. People who, don't have good blood flow tend to have poorer quality skin. Yeah, so it comes right back down to the blood flow. Okay, so that's great. Now, what about the mental wellness benefits of it? Stress reduction and relaxation. Let me tell you something. 2 things occur when I go in the sauna. And I have one here at the house. When I go in the sauna, one of 2 things are going to occur. It's relaxation time, where I have my TV mounted on the wall, not in the sauna, and I have Bluetooth that pops it through, where either I put on some great music to relax to and enjoy on YouTube University, or YouTube University is the flip side to that. I'll put something on I want to learn for that 20, 30, 40 minutes I'm in the sauna, and I am going to school while I'm in the sauna. Double win, stress reduction and relaxation. Better sleep quality? Absolutely. Now, I'm going to tell you, sleep has to do with the body cooling. The thing not to do probably is go in the sauna and try and roll out of the sauna into bed. Going in for a nice cool shower afterwards, etc., and getting a cool down time is great. But just remember, you don't want to roll out of the sauna and try to go right into bed, because it does have that slight exercise effect, that aerobic effect, which gets your body going. But if you get out of the sauna, take 20, 30 minutes, take a nice cool shower, wind down, get into bed, you're going to sleep like a baby. Okay, and what basically happens is it increases these things called heat shock proteins. And these actually protect your cells and help your cells and the mitochondria in your cells. And that's a whole lesson in itself, where we could go on for hours and hours talking about how all that works. But just understand, you're going to get heat shock proteins. They help with your cell reproduction and your cell health. It does release endorphins when you're in the sauna. Any good sauna, you want to have a really good sauna if you're going to use a sauna, because you want to make sure that the wood isn't treated with chemicals, because that would leach out. You want to make sure the EMF level is low. And you might be like, what? These EMFs are coming back again, coach. Yeah. Everything that's heat related, sun related, it's going to have some sort of EMF. You just don't want excessive electromagnetic fields, because that can tend to harm the cells as opposed to help them if it's too high. So you got to be careful which sauna you use. The cheap one over at Costco is probably not the sauna. If you're going to get one for home, get one that's in good standing. I've done all the research on that. If you need help picking out a sauna, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. Okay. And this is a good time to be mindful and meditative. While you're in there, you're sweating out this garbage, you're doing something good for your body. Most of the really good saunas have LED lighting in them. You can set the mood lighting. And it's just a really amazing self-care time. So when to use the sauna? Well, post-workout is great because there's a bunch of new studies I've been following that show that it helps increase muscle mass after a muscle building exercise. It's great for the evening, of course, relaxation time when you're highly stressed. If you feel like you're coming down with a cold or something, that's also great. Most people recommend 3 to 4 times a week in the sauna. I'm 5 or 6. There's 2 types of saunas I'd like to mention to you, and the first one is the infrared. That's what I have. Kind of heats the body from the in and out. It's got 2 nice heaters on the inside, but it also has the infrared that you can't see that gets you to sweat from the inside out. Then there's the traditional where it's the hot rocks and the air is what's the hottest, and it heats you from the outside in. They're both good. I tend to lean more towards the infrared. So there was a Finnish study done. I'm going to leave us on this with this part. It was a study done in Finland that they followed men for 25 years. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of this. Some of them did none or only 1 time a week in the sauna. The other group did 5 to 7 times a week in the sauna. The reduction in sudden cardiac death in the group that did 5 to 7 times was like 80% less than the ones that did none or maybe 1. Now, if that in itself is not enough to tell you there's something to be said for this heat therapy, yeah. So check it out, guys. Find out if it's for you. Get your medical checkup. Make sure you're in the condition to do it. Just because you're not in shape doesn't mean you can't handle a sauna. It can help get you in shape quicker, but just make sure. Always just make sure that you're good to go. Now we're going to take a turn, the opposite 360 right here. We're going to go into cold therapy. And this basically, when I refer to cold therapy, I'm talking about the cold plunge, okay? What are the physical benefits of a cold plunge? Now, you could do a cold shower, you could do cryotherapy or cold plunge. We're going to address that in just a minute, what the differences are. The physical benefits are reduced inflammation and muscle soreness. Wait, you said the heat reduces muscle soreness. It does. Reduced inflammation, however, is something you're going to get a little more on the cold side. Heat brings blood flow to an area, which is great for healing and the recovery and helping the muscle soreness. So they both do. Whereas the cold doesn't leave the heat there. If you put a hot pack on your sore shoulder, you really should put ice on it afterwards. The hot brings the blood flow, the nutrients for healing. The cold is going to disperse that so it doesn't swell. Okay? So faster recovery from training. If you're really, like you run a marathon and you're like, no, you're not going to be able to walk tomorrow, and you go in the cold plunge, it's going to help. When I did my very first Spartan in Malibu, California, it was a tough one too. I was sure I was going to be deathly sore the next day. However, part of it was swimming through the river runoff water, which was 40-something degrees. And at that point, we were so cold that it removed the inflammation. So think of it that way. Now, the other part is increased metabolism, increased immune system, improved circulation when alternated with heat. It's amazing, like we talked about. Okay, so now the mental and wellness benefits, you got increased resilience and willpower. It's not easy to jump in a cold tub full of water, guys, but it is relaxing once you're in. You get in, and after the first few seconds, it's like, this is amazing. It elevates your mood through a serious dopamine release, and that's a better dopamine release than getting a text on your phone, right? Stress adaptation and hormetic response. Okay? You're adapting to stress, and your hormetic response is to get stronger. Your immune system, everything gets stronger. And frankly, it's confidence building through discomfort tolerance. Okay? When is the best time to use the cold therapy? Morning in the energy boost is a great time. It'll get you awake instantly. Immediately after a super intense workout, if you're really mentally foggy or out of it and tired, or when you just want to build up your mental toughness. Types of cold therapy. Cold shower is a good place to start, although it's not my recommended. It'll get you going. That's where I started. Cryotherapy is where they pump in the cold air, the cold nitrogen. That's skin deep again. It's going from the outside in. Cold plunge, you really take the body temperature down, but you force it down, but then your core body temperature comes back up. So in conclusion, one more thing I forgot to say about the heat. When you heat your body, when you have a fever, it kills off pathogens because that's the purpose for a fever. And I believe that the heat therapy also is really good for your immune system because it knocks out some of the bad bugs. In conclusion here, guys, my belief is that both are an integral part of your wellness journey. Okay? As we discussed, morning is really best for cold immersion and evening for heat exposure. The cold part of my morning is my morning routine. That's my cold plunge. That gets me going. It's part of what I do every single day. And the heat part is my wind down in the evening. I love it. Both of them. So the exact temperatures and time is going to vary from person to person. Like I said, we're bio-individual. Okay, make sure you're in good health and no conditions that would be exacerbated by either therapy. Some folks with something, say, like MS might not tolerate the heat therapy, and somebody that has I'm calling it petechia, but it's that one where you lose blood flow to the feet and stuff, and might be exacerbated by the cold therapy. So check with your doc. And if they just say, you're a quack, you're nuts if you do this, this is stupid and it doesn't work, then you might want to talk to a different doctor. If they tell you this is the reason because of your health condition, then listen to your doctor. All right, so both therapies prevent illness a lot of times from boosting the immune system. They present really good benefits in the physical, mental, and emotional side of your health. So guys, make your decisions on this. If you have questions, reach out. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always live your dreams. And I'm going to sign off till the next time. And I really trust that this had some great value to you. Go put it to use.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to xlr8life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.